Hello everyone, we have Dr. R.C. Ramola from SRHU Institute with us. Dr. Ramesh Chand Ramola, Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology and Principal, Himalayan School of Science and Technology, did MS in Electronics from BITS Pilani and PhD from University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. He has 28 years of teaching experience in the field of electronics and communication engineering. Sir has been associated in research and development work at Central Electronics Engineering Research Institute, Pilani, in the area of optoelectronics, microwave antennas, and high frequency communication. Sir has a number of publications to his credit in both international and national journals and has attended prestigious conferences. He was awarded Vice Chancellor's Gold Medal and Srimati Saligram Bhatt Gold Medal in the year 1987. He is life member of ISTE and member of IFTA. Sir, we welcome you.
Thank you.
So let's start the interview, sir. And my first question to you is that being the dean, what is your philosophy of leadership and how would you describe your leadership style?
If I see in the terms of leadership, generally in the academic administration, I work mostly in the academic administration. So leadership is generally I talk in terms of the strategic leadership. Strategic leadership means that we plan for the programs in like for short-term goals or long-term goals, and then strategically we plan it properly for the like yearly, then short-term like 5 years and 10 years, and then accordingly we monitor it. We look into the continuous feedback, and generally the main aim is to achieve the goals or the objectives of the programs which we set up initially. And second thing is, to achieve the quality, we need constant efforts towards the feedback which is given from the various areas we are getting. So in the strategic leadership, the every team member is very important. So the motivation for all the team members, the stakeholders, everybody is very important. But my leadership is with a goal and objective and how to achieve it, proper planning and monitoring.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. So moving on to the next question, sir, you have held key positions at education institutes throughout your professional career. What are the key factors that keep you connected with the education sector?
I joined teaching into 1993, and almost 28 years I am completing my teaching profession, keeping at various levels. But being as this position as a dean and principal, right from the beginning, teaching is my passion. And the other key factors which are involved in the education sector, that means when we talk of education, that means everything. And the learning is one of the goal where we get the opportunity to learn new technology, to know new technology, to teach new technology, and to implement new technologies. The other factor is you remain connected with the industry when we have industry and institute relationship. And then third part is the research and publication and the projects which we do for the society or in the development of the new technologies. So these are the various factors, and almost in the education, grooming the students is it's a great experience with the students. So these are the things which make me very passionate for this the education sector.
Right, sir. That's great to hear. And moving on to the curriculum and education. So, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for marketing and administration of your school?
Uh, Regarding the various programs, if we see, this is a totally now the competitive, you can say the at the national level or the world level, competition is there. So whenever we see any program, before launching a program, number of factors are there that whether these the objectives and the uh, learning outcomes which we have set up for any program is that how to deliver to the students. So basically we talk in terms of students, that once the students are satisfied, they are brand ambassador. So for these students we need constant support. They need constant support, they need infrastructure, they need facilities, they need uh, grooming classes, and they need training and placement. Everything is needed for the students. But whenever we satisfy the students and they become our brand ambassador when they are satisfied, so then we disseminate these information to the public through digital marketing, through alumni relationship, through our website, through branding. So these are the various, you can say, marketing way of projecting the school uh, to the market or to the public, so that the coming or the students or the candidates who are coming to our university, and particularly the engineering college, they should know that what are the things we are doing in the campus for the students.
Right, sir. So, having said that, sir, my next question is that how does the curriculum of the university ensure the best practices in the industry?
Uh, Curriculum, generally when we talk about curriculum, uh, we see that the curriculum should be taught in terms of uh, the program should be matched with the regional issues, the state issues, the national issues. Only then we can satisfy all the students who are coming out of this going through the curriculum. They will do something for the society, for their regional area, for their state, for the country. So what we see is the curriculum, whenever the curriculum is made or whenever the curriculum is modified or we make changes, then the stakeholders must be considered into the picture, like our alumni, our parents, our industries. So we take feedback. Generally, what we do in our engineering college, we take feedback from all the stakeholders, and then with the feedback, we make the syllabus or a curriculum, whatever we have. If we want to modify, so we incorporate the feedback of the industry, of the parents, alumni, and then so that it gives a good, a healthy curriculum, which is you can say is good for the society also and for the industry. Because if you are talking about the industry part, because what we see is there is a big gap between the industry and the engineering college education. So though the gap we can reduce by taking the feedback. Second thing is we can collaborate the gap which is there. We can collaborate with the industry so that we can further reduce the gap, and the students becomes ready for the industry and they are more employable.
Right, sir. So, what do you think should be the university's top priority over the next 10 years?
Uh, 10 years, generally what we, as a dean and a principal, I want that the engineering college should come within the 20 best private engineering college of the country. This is the aim. Second is that our engineering college should have a influence at the national level and at the world level in terms of the high quality faculty, students, alumni, and corporates. And third part is the we should able to contribute in the research work, the project work, and publication, which should be at the international level and with the Scopus Index or referred journals in the respective domains.
Right, sir. So I see that the vision is very clear and very definite. So adding on to that discussion only, sir, when you first came to the institute, what was your vision and how much do you think you have achieved that?
Initially, when I came here in the institute, um, already they were doing some work related to industry institute. So what we initially, what we have, you can say that particularly the work which is initiated is industry institute partnership, and second is the branding, marketing and branding of the college, and third part is the quality of the students. Fourth is the quality of the faculty, and fifth is the research and development. So these are the issues where initially we were lacking, and after what I see after 5 years, I have completed 5 years, that there is a considerable progress in like we were lacking in research areas. So there is a progress in the research areas, and still we have to achieve a lot, particularly in the research and development. But we have taken steps regarding the journals, regarding our R&D work, regarding our proposals, and towards the accreditation. And we are thinking of international accreditation also of US ABET, American system of this accreditation. So these were the issues initially, which at present we were struggling when the institute, when I joined. But after 5 years, what I feel is considerably we have achieved, but a lot has to be we have to be do in these areas. And naturally, when we set up a goal for 10 years, naturally these things will be there, but constant efforts are there towards this achievement of the goals.
Right, sir. So, sir, what are the things that you would like people to know about the university that they may not know right now?
Uh, One is that the university, basically the thinking of the university is very very clear that it is totally based on the philosophy of our Swami Rama, that basically this is a service. So love and serve is the motto, and that the people generally doesn't know about this. So main the mindset of the university is to give a quality education to the candidates or the students who are currently studying here. So with the purpose that the students, we are making a good human beings, and they should serve the society. Uh, they should serve the society. They should solve their problems. And the other thing is the university is doing is like we have a medical college, we have a nursing college. So the hospital is doing very good work in the medical area, and it is one of the best hospital in the northern region of our country, and providing good services.
Right, sir. So my next question to you is that what are some of the biggest challenges that you see both for higher education in general and for your institute specific?
Challenges are there that what I see is challenges, particularly in the higher education. If I talk, naturally to promote research and development, unless we do research and development only, particularly I'm talking about the engineering. But as a university, we are doing very good, and particularly in higher education, because PhD is there in different disciplines. But engineering, we have to start the PhD part. And the other challenges are you can say in terms of students number. Then other challenges are that new industry 4 technologies are coming. So it's a big challenge for the colleges, or particularly that we have to adapt new technologies, and the knowledge which we have to teach to the students are easily not available. The faculty, particularly in the area of IoT, AI, or you can say blockchain, cryptography. At present, the faculties are less faculty members, particularly in these areas, are available. So it's a big challenge that how to train the students. Then in that case, we have to collaborate with either the foreign collaboration or the big industries. But faculty point of view, we have to do a lot of things. The quality of the faculty, particularly in the specialized area, is a big challenge. And the areas which are shrinking, that is also a challenge, that how we can make these areas, like particularly in mechanical, civil, how these areas can be with combining with the industry 4, they can be make better in terms of like when we talk about the product manufacturing in the product form, because every knowledge is needed when we make a product. The mechanical, electronics, computer science, all are integrated. So these are the challenges actually.
Right, sir. Sir, do you also have some plans that you're currently working on or will be working on for designing the institute's international affairs and or welcoming students from outside countries?
Yes, already we have a plan, and we have students from outside country, and we are giving them all the facilities and the knowledge or the culture, which we are very rich in that. We are imparting that all the facilities to the students, and whenever they mix up with the our students, they share their views, so that you can say the culture diversity gives a good educational experience to the students. And particularly the student who are coming from abroad, they learn about our culture and they grow very well. So all the necessary facilities are there, and we are ensuring that the students who are coming from abroad, they should not face any problem. So right from their visa till their education, the university is taking care.
All right, sir. Sir, so what usually happens is that the education system in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. So, in your experience, what can be some uh, tools that you can use, to welcome and properly nurture the students coming from outside?
If I see that the particularly the students who are coming to the university, they are not from the developed countries. Generally, they are from developing countries. So what we see is the infrastructure wise and the requirement, and basically the mindset with which the students are coming to the campus is that we are imparting a quality education to them. So if we see the accreditation part, that the in terms of quality, if we talk, then naturally there we can match the education that we are taking care whenever we accredited our programs or our colleges, the various programs in the university. So through accreditation, we can match the quality. Second thing is the because when we talk of international education, then the credit must be transferred, or the credits which we are giving to the which is earned by the students, they are internationally known. And if we are accredited, then it is adopted by all the countries, whether it is USA or European countries. It is universally adopted. And we have other options also, because we have accreditation from other European Union and Canada and USA. For that also we can go for the accreditation, but there is a planning which is needed. Like we have a goals for 10 years or 5 years that can be achieved.
Right, sir. Sir, so my last question to you is that do you have any suggestions that you would like to give to the current youth and the aspiring students?
My suggestions to the aspiring students is that the students they should have a passion for the technology, and because it serves number of purpose, that they should come in technology, particularly in the engineering side. And if I see as a India is growing in terms of if you say infrastructure wise, and at present at the world level, what I see is India is growing, and the technology, there is a big explosion which is going on at present in the technologies, particularly in industry 4 technology, which are making impact in the total industry. So the students which are aspiring in the engineering, they should come forward, and there is a lot of scope, particularly you can say is in the various fields, not only you can say in terms of computer science or mechanical, or every field is impacted by the industry 4 technologies which are at present going on, and everybody is changing. So unless the student take or learn these new technology, only then the country can grow, and overall India can make impact at the world level.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very insightful interview. Thank you for giving your time and sharing your views. I am sure the students and other faculties who will see this interview will gain a lot of insights and will be enlightened by the knowledge that you've shared today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.